pass when he was headed up into the 80-mile-an-hour range, and now it appears as though he may be trying to exit the freeway. It's hard to say with that tight shot there, but clearly there's a little bit of traffic. No, those are just a couple of cars stopping. He goes around him and continues. He has exercised a degree of caution throughout all of this. At one time along the surface streets, actually coming up to an intersection where the light was green and he actually stopped. Perhaps that was more of a mental conflict there as to what he wanted to do, whether he wanted to stop, whether he wanted to turn, whether he wanted to keep going, whether he wanted to surrender. We've seen him run through a number of intersections on surface streets, most of them red lights, and he had stopped for all of them. And now he's been on the freeway here for some time.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. You know, we talk about this over and over again, and then when you get at pursuits like this now where he's just cruising along, just, pull over and stop. Yeah. There's no sense in this. And, yeah, I think he's on the brakes, real hard there. The bad part about that is he's wearing those brakes out, heating them up. And if he decides to pick this up a little bit and decides to get on those brakes, they're not going to be there for him. And he may end up crashing this thing, not knowing that he's what they call heated up his brake, and he'll get brake fade. But that's Mulholland we just went under there. We're southbound the 405 coming up to the Sepulveda Pass. For the folks there, he's getting off. I believe that is Mulholland he's getting off on. Yeah, so, what's he doing? Well, there's nowhere to go up here. He's up in the hills. One
of two things he can do here. He can bend through those canyons, or he can jump back on the 405 northbound. I mean, this is another example of it. So he stops here. All right, now he waits for the green light, and then he goes. This is Jekyll and Hyde behavior here.
Dealing with the traffic up here. So, yeah, eastbound Mulholland. This is going to take him up through the hills, up through the backside of the hills here. So, yeah, this is going to make it a little more interesting for the guys on the ground. And, the whole thing on this, I think he's not doing this slow driving for the other motoring public. I think he's doing it for himself, and he hasn't got the wherewithal to jump on it like some of these guys do. But, yeah, this is going to be really something getting up in here in these hills. It's going to wind around. There's a lot of sharp turns, a lot of bends and things of that sort that he's going to deal with, and LAPD is going to have to really watch here. But the one good thing about this, getting him up in these hills, is that they'll be able to deploy those spike strips ahead of him. Yeah, and so as we come around here, he's still eastbound on Mulholland going away, but there he is coming up to a T intersection. Now, he's up in a neighborhood right now. There's not too many places for him to go. He's climbed the hill up into this neighborhood. He's going to work his way around to the left, it looks like. And this is really tight streets up in here, really hairpin type turns and things of that sort. A lot of expensive houses up in this area. And then the roadway is really tight as he's coming through here. And I can guarantee you right now, he's lost. There's no way he's going to figure out where he's at up in this area. He's not, there's no way out. He's going to have to take the highway that goes up through here, actually the roadway that goes up through here.
Is he back on Mulholland?
Very difficult. He's still on Mulholland from what we're getting called by LAPD. Okay. We're going to try to confirm that. But yeah, this is a little residential street that's up on this side of the hill here, and working his way. And 11-5 is going to go behind you. So
what we're looking at here is a stolen vehicle pursuit. The individual inside, the suspect, what appeared to be a male, perhaps in his late 20s, early 30s, from the visual that we got of him at one point along this pursuit, where he actually stepped out of the car, looked like he was going to surrender, then jumped back in and continued. He's wanted for a narcotics violation and a stolen car suspect as well here. What appears to be some sort of Chevrolet SUV, maybe a well, I couldn't tell you. It's a smaller size SUV at any rate. And we've been watching him here now for some time, a pursuit that started, well, we picked it up in the downtown area. This individual heading northbound on the 101, stayed on the freeway for some time, exiting in the valley on Woodman, taking the LAPD, who has been the lead agency in this pursuit from the very beginning, along surface streets and back onto the freeway. Breaking news coverage continues here of a pursuit through the streets of Southern California. This is a special edition of the KTLA News at 7 o'clock. This pursuit we picked up in downtown Los Angeles and carried the LAPD on surface streets and freeways. And now it appears this suspect is coming to an end in the decision here and getting out of the car and running. Now it appears behind the house. Maybe it's his house, maybe it's not. Tim Lynn, what do you see?
Well, here he is on foot running into this very large house here. This just came off of Stardella, was on a little residential street. He just suddenly pulled up into a driveway and bailed out running. LAPD right on his heels, but he's up into that major house there. They're doing their best to stay on him with the air unit. You see the unit officers pulling in there. They're going to search it, but you watch for him to pop out the backside. But they got LAPD all the way around that house. And I'm just going to bring in Sky 5 around to see if we can find when they get him. But he went into that large residence there. This is up on the hills, right the other side of the freeway from Getty. And he went to the front door from what I just heard the LAPD airship say. But now you see them working with their flashlights through there. They lost sight of him as he went in. And it's very heavily wooded up in this area. He went up under an awning as he went into that residence there. And as they're popping, as you see right there, he might pop out this side. And we're just going to keep bringing around with the air unit here, try to watch them, see where they're going, because the air unit observer that I'm hearing right now has lost sight of him, and they're just surrounding that house, trying to do their best to take him into custody. But right now they don't have him in custody. Looks like the officers are running back around the front of that house. I'm going to bring Sky 5 back around and get us a better look. But you see they're setting up a perimeter. Those officers on foot out on the street there. They're going to pin this area down. He's not going to get away. Hopefully he doesn't break into that house and we get into a hostage situation. But small street here right off Stardella, up in the hills just to the east side of the Getty, just off the 405 freeway. Stand by 1 second. Stand by, Adam. And we'll see what we got here. I'm getting information from LAPD right now. Let me send it back to you, Mike, just for a second.
All right, Tim Lind calling it for us in Sky 5, a pursuit that began some 45 minutes ago and leading LAPD on a chase from downtown Los Angeles on the freeways of Southern California for at least 45 minutes, on surface streets in the valley as well, from the Cahuenga Pass to the Sepulveda Pass. And now, coming to an end here in this neighborhood in Bel Air, this individual jumping out of the car and into a house. And from what we understand, this suspect is now in custody. Correct, Tim?
That's on Stardella Way. I'm sorry, I missed the name of the street. LAPD area was asking us if we saw where he popped out, but right at the time that he said that, their officers took him into custody in the front door of this house, and we're going to work our way around. He's in custody. Luckily, we're not going to have that standoff that we were thinking about. But yeah, they're going to drag him out here to the police cars out in front, take him into custody. This long pursuit that's gone through the freeways here, coming to an end up here in the end here up in the hills above Santa Monica, above Van Nuys here on, I believe it was Marmon Wade or something of that sort, right off Stardella. But yeah, right. It's wild pursuit that came to the end.
And it came to a peaceful end, thankfully for all involved.
There he is right there.
There he is, coming out. He's in handcuffs, and that brings this story to an end. Thanks much for your coverage, Tim Lind.